I am your host, Hank Russell. Thank you for joining me here on Millions.co. My guest tonight, he is a Muay Thai kickboxer. I've been kind of looking forward to this one for a few weeks. He scheduled this with me for a couple weeks ago, and the anticipation has grown. We've had conflicting schedule problems, but that's okay. But he's here now, ladies and gentlemen. My guest at this time is Mr. CJ Kapo. What's up, man?
How you doing? How you doing?
So, tell me about your upcoming fight that you got coming up.
So it's a kickboxing match at 140. It's my first time fighting at 140. I usually fight at 135. So
Okay.
moved up 5 pounds.
Oh, okay. So, what about your opponent? What's he like?
From what I hear, from what I've seen, he comes from a good gym, so I expect him to be at least like fundamentally sound. At least I think he's I'm like about 5'6", 5'7". I think he's around the same, maybe 5'8". So
Okay.
um, yeah, from the photo, I thought he was gonna be like a lot taller, maybe 5'11" ish, maybe around there, maybe 5'8". I mean 5'9",
Mm-hmm.
5'7". But I was strategizing to to beat his reach and work inside, but I guess he's 5'8", so the reach won't be an issue for me.
What's his name?
Tanner, if I remember correctly. Yeah.
Have you done any research on him, or do you know anything about him?
Um, not really in depth, not anything too much in depth.
Okay.
Just that primarily. I haven't been able to find any like video or anything about him. About like how he actually like fights or any competitions he's been in. Um,
Yeah.
for the most part, I've really just been focused on really me and my technique. I guess like my strategy for this fight is to kind of be fluid, in the sense of reading my opponent and understanding what I need to do to win the fight. So I kind of cover all my bases as far as striking goes. Um, you know, I've had a great. I've had an opportunity to have a lot of good people around me, a lot of great coaches, a lot of really really high IQ fighters. I've had the chance to spar with a lot of people that kind of really like push my skill set, my IQ. So you know, I I've been training for this fight for 3 months. So I'm ready.
Oh, that's great. And
Yeah.
how long have you been competing in Muay Thai kickboxing?
So I honestly haven't competed in, I would say, like years, probably like 8 years. It's been since I actually stepped inside the ring. Um, but I've always been training. Fighting has always been like a lifestyle for me. So
Okay.
gym, I've always been, working at, my technique and my skill. Um, I would say life kind of got in the way, kind of kept me out of the ring for a little bit, but I found myself in a place where I was like, you know what, like I actually want to compete. There's always like a fire inside of me to compete. So I kind of just told myself, yeah, I'm gonna compete, and then
Yeah.
lo and behold, the avenue opened up for me to compete within a month of me desiring to compete, and then by that time I was already training. I was already getting myself back in the gym, like I was gonna fight. And so,
Yeah.
2 months out, when I got hooked up and committed myself to the fight, I just went even harder. I would say that for this fight, for this competition, what's interesting for me, I would say is I've never had a problem with weight. So for some reason, my body just wants to gain weight, just wants to just grow. And when I went up as high as 150, so I was trying to cut, down to like, I went down to 147, and I'm naturally walking around at like 135, 140. and then to diet, and all that to keep my weight, where it needs to be was kind of new for me. I never really had to like focus on that. So, um,
So what makes so you said you hadn't fought in 8 years as far as competing, but you've been training in the lifestyle of fighting.
yeah.
That that being said, what are you doing differently? Like, what are you doing differently than you were 8 years ago?
Uh, hmm. I would say that I am I'm focusing a lot more on the mental aspect of fighting. Uh, I would say that, I mean, my desire, is to win, be great, and all that stuff, but
Yes.
never really wrapped my mind around what that really meant and what that really took. You know,
Yeah.
there's a lot of great fighters out there. There's people who've been fighting since they were kids. What am I gonna do? Like, what do I have to give to fighting that's gonna make me, who I desire to be in this sport? So once I felt like I sat down with myself and really asked myself that question and really discovered, what that fire inside of me for fighting was. And I think, that's what, before to me was just something I liked doing. I fell in love with it. I always wanted to compete. People told me I was good at it. So it was something I just did. You know, and now I feel like it's something I desire with like everything within my being. To go and compete, be in the ring, compete at the highest levels. Because I believe in myself, and I think that's really the difference. Before, yeah, I thought I was good, yeah, but now I really think I can. Like I have zero doubt in my mind. I'm willing to prove it, and I feel like that's what's really different. I guess even training wise, I've been even besides the mental aspect, when it comes to the actual practical application of training differently, what I've been doing, I would say, um, is I've been really involving a lot of different people. A lot of I've kind of created a community at the gym that I train at, with people who box, people who kickbox, people who do sanda, people who do taekwondo, people who black belts, fighters, amateur fighters, pro fighters. I've just met so many different people, and I've had the pleasure to spar with them, to learn from them, to train with them, and I feel like that's helped me grow a lot just because of all the different influences I've had, and I realized that's kind of like how I want to be. I want to be so well rounded. I want to be very fluid as a fighter. Like almost like ready for anything. Not to be cliche and say like water, like Bruce Lee. But at the same time, that's probably the best way to explain it. I would say, in that idea, which is to be like water, like Bruce Lee said.
You were mentioning the mental aspect. Have you gone to therapy?
If I've gone to therapy,
Yeah.
um,
I know. Well, I mean, George St. Pierre was very publicly known for going to a sports psychologist.
huh. And you know what? You know what's funny? I have kind of. I don't want to say I've been like my own therapist, but um, when I was even now, I'm still unpacking like that whole mental side of myself. That it started with building that confidence, but now it's really snowballing into, I guess, kind of what you're leading into, which is um, how to, I guess, as an athlete, be mentally, and you know what I realized? It's like a peace. You have to be like mentally at peace. And I mean, I guess now I haven't really, sought out a therapist, but I've sought out the tools I feel like necessary to to mentally be able to, to step into the ring and perform and to continue to do what I desire to do in this sport. So I would say not traditionally. I didn't find a traditional therapist, but um, there were there's a podcast that I recently listened to called Diary of a CEO, and it showed there's a few of them that I actually watched. One dude was a doctor. His name is Joe Dispenza, Doctor Joe Dispenza.
I know. I'm very familiar with Joe Dispenza.
Yeah, I don't know if you ever watched his Diary of a CEO podcast interview, but
Maybe if you're talking about a specific podcast, I can't remember, but I've read 2 of his books.
okay, yeah, I actually read one of his books. I went to a trip once down in Georgia, and the friend I stayed with down there had one of his books, and I actually cracked it open and was reading it and was very like interested about what it was talking about how he was doing all these things to
Right.
scientifically prove these phenomenon that we can't explain, but he was able to kind of like conceptualize a lot of them.
Yeah. Well, and to be fair about those books is that I've read it, and he's mentioned some stories, but the biggest problem with all the like quantum physics types books like that is that I don't see a whole lot of proof behind them. It's I'm sure you've heard Terrence Howard, how he's talked and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Like, my thing about that is I'm not saying he's not a smart guy, but when you do all that talking and all that knowledge and don't put it to practical use, then that's where I go, what is the point? You can have all this knowledge. I could have all the math in the world, but if it does not benefit me towards progressing what my goals are in life and what my goals should be in life, then I have to step away from those types of things, because maybe it's just a lot of jargon of, of mostly philosophical differences. Like you have a lot of people that are philosophical, but they have no action behind it, so to speak.
That is 100% correct. And with you saying that, I would draw the comparison of Terrence Howard and Dr. Joe Dispenza, who maybe might be saying the same things, but
Right.
Joe Dispenza actually puts it into practical to use. There's people who come to him and that knowledge of practically help the masses.
Yes.
Terrence Howard, I haven't really seen. I mean, I've heard him talk a lot, like you say, but I haven't really seen
action.
Practical application of what he's saying.
I've heard some stories by Joe Dispenza of his healing abilities, so to speak, or the ability to heal themselves, which I'm open-minded towards, because I could use all the healing I could get, but at the same time, it's such a difficult read. Like it's to me, it's a difficult read, to read all that stuff.
So, and people like that, who maybe seem like mystics or ahead of their time. I kind of relate them to individuals similar to, like, I guess, Nikola Tesla, who was maybe ahead of his time, and people what he understood, or maybe certain people who probably tapped into something, who know a certain something about
right.
The world or the unseen world, however you want to.
Right. The difference between Nikola Tesla and like Joe Dispenza is that Tesla did the accomplishments that he had, though, was more about changing the world. And unfortunately, if Joe's theories were more sound and more, then the world would be going with his theories, just like Nikola Tesla. But then again, you have probably a good 90% of the population that doesn't realize if it wasn't for Nikola Tesla, there would be none of these.
Right. Literally.
Every time you walk away with a cordless phone, that's Nikola Tesla. So
that's what you call the true genius right there, because Nikola Tesla was so, and he was so ahead of his time, and the things he says too, like 3, 6, and 9. You know, if one of his quotes is, if everybody understood the significance, I guess, of like 3, 6, and 9.
Yeah. Well, I want to have the biggest combat fighting podcast in the world. I wonder how practical his theories could help me get that.
Um. Hmm. I mean, you'd have you'd have to dig deep, I guess, and try to find a method. I mean, because it's like, even with reading like Joe Dispenza, his book is, yeah, it has multiple pages because there's so many different, like, even like, I would look up these like CIA like documents that tell you about all the experiments that we're doing with MK Ultra and X, Y,
Mm-hmm.
and to understand that our government was really digging into this stuff, it gives it a validity that makes me like, and they're talking about stuff that you know you would think is like witchcraft or pseudo BS, but
Yeah.
it's they're saying, hey, yeah, there's practical techniques that they've used to have out of body experiences, and enter dimensions where
Yeah.
these
Exactly. As long as whatever these guys does not step away, because I'm a strong Christian.
right.
As long as it doesn't unalign with my relationship with Jesus Christ, then I don't have a problem with it. But at the same time, I have to, if it's built upon deception and altering reality sort of thing that really is not possible, or trying to challenge or trying to become like, like play God, so to speak, then I do have a problem with that.
See, and I was raised Christian, and I still call myself a Christian, and I have
Sure.
really good, strong connection with God, and Jesus saved my soul, amen. And I've been really, really been asking the Holy Spirit to help guide me through a lot of this stuff, because it's almost like you see like doses of truth, but it's
Mhm.
you know like, how does it, like, biblically line up, or how does the Word of God kind of like, how does it kind of align or explain X, Y, and Z? So you know for me, it's been a lot of like understanding, the you know understanding the, I guess, how reality really is, and really, I feel like the Bible, is is a, is somewhat misunderstood. I feel like, because a lot of people, they like, I would say, for me, like, one of the biggest things I've never really understood about the Bible was, how like Cain was able to go out and find a wife. Like, I've always had these questions about reading the text, like, and it's interesting too, because I read the Bible, like the original Hebrew version of the Bible, because I thought it was interesting, and a lot of the words um that they have in like the New King James versions and
Mhm.
other different versions, kind of like, they're different. And then once you get back to like that original language of, like, how it was written, I feel like things kind of became a little more clearer in interpretation. I feel like, I mean, it took me some time. I had to kind of learn a little bit of Hebrew, and Google some words, some phrases. But when I did my due diligence, I felt like I was rewarded greatly with revelation. So, um,
Good, good. I mean, as long as I guess whatever works for you. I mean, I don't know. Um, it's a whole different thing. As somebody who has been a Christian majority of my life, it's one of those things where I think I'm still scratching the surface.
no, bro, I feel the same way, honestly, and I've had such a strong like desire and like thirst inside, like,
Yeah,
to know. I'm like, God, I need to know, because, from when I was like a kid, I was young, you didn't really, understand too much about like the spiritual stuff. Like all of a sudden, I was thrusted into this, these experiences where it was like, I felt like I had friends who could choose to believe or not. But for me, it was like,
Mm-hmm.
what it is, believe it or not.
Yeah, man. All right. Hey, man, enough with the philosophical stuff. Now let's promote your fight, man, before I let you go.
Yes.
All right. Tell me about your fight coming up, man. Like, give me details about where it is, when it is, and where can guys like you and me watch it.
All right, so it's gonna be August the 2nd at 5 p.m. in Fort Lauderdale in Lauderhill, and that's at the Komodo Training Center. So the Komodo Training Center is a training center up there. I read the reviews of that training center, and everybody in the community loves that gym. Nothing but 5 stars. So if you're in Lauderhill, I would say definitely check it out. The community there, I mean, from what I read, is awesome. I can't wait to go there and experience it for myself. When I say I've been ready to step in the ring, guys, I've been ready. So I'm going nuts. I can't wait to punch somebody, put my hands on somebody. So y'all want to see me go nuts? Tune in. You can watch it streaming on Millions pay-per-view, and they're gonna stream it at 5 p.m. because that's when the event starts. I promised everybody who's coming to watch me a show, so it's gonna be a show. I promise you that. All right. I promise everybody it's definitely gonna be a show. I'm gonna show out for you guys.
Yes.
What I've been doing for years, what I love to do. This is who I am. I'm a fighter. I'm a warrior. So I'm gonna show you why I am what I am. All right.
And like Batman said, let's get nuts.
Let's get nuts. Let's go.
That's right. All right, ladies and gentlemen, it has been nothing but a pleasure talking to this guy.
Thank
Man,
you.
I look forward to hearing from him again, seeing how he did in his fight and everything like that. It's a long time coming. And this has been the Hank Russell Invitation. And I appreciate all of you guys coming in here. You could have been anywhere else, but you decided to join me this evening, and I sure do appreciate it. Here on millions.co, y'all have a pleasant evening.